100%. So, Ant's last 10 playoff games, he hasn't cracked 30. In his previous, and he's averaging 23 on 40, 36 splits. So basically from late in the series against the Nuggets through the conference finals and these two. For a little context, so his last 10, he hasn't had 30 once. His previous 12 up to that point, he had 44 times and 38 times. So it has been, yeah, and so listen, and that is, small sample size, and I'm kind of picking and choosing the moment, but it is, to me, a little noteworthy. But the answer to this question is unequivocally yes. And I applaud the Lakers for doing against Ant this game what I thought they were going to do in game one, which was not allow him to be a distributor. But where Ant needs, a little bit of critique is because of how they are guarding him, he needs to be more impactful offensively from a scoring perspective. Right. If he's going to have 0 assists, which he shouldn't have 0, but call it 3 assists, then it needs to be closer to 35 than to 25. He is the best athlete on the court. That is, at this point in his career compared to LeBron, there's no question there. You saw it on the dunk of the playoffs, which was a remarkable play. The Lakers can't play their only big guy, Jackson Hayes, because I'm not certain he knows the rules of basketball at all times, so that works against him. And so he's got to be able to take advantage of it. And so everybody loves Ant because of his disposition. Brew, we was talking about that, the interview, that is, almost naive honesty that we like. But, yeah, they need a lot more from Ant if they're not going to be down 2-1 after Friday night.
I agree with a lot of that, but what really bothered me last night from him was he got off to such a slow start. And it wasn't that he was missing a bunch of shots. He wasn't engaged. Like, his second field goal attempt came with 2 minutes, 30 seconds left in the first quarter, down 25-10. Like, you can't let the game get away from you like that, and as the best player, you're not taking shots. So I think he needs to be more aggressive right away. Now, maybe he's trying to figure out how they were defending him, but that was really the game, because from the second quarter on, he played well. Like, he finished at the rim, he attacked. They threw a lot of different looks at him. Sometimes they doubled him, sometimes it was single coverage. They did have like a matchup zone appearance at times, and so they did a good job of mixing it up and maybe confusing him. I think the 0 assists, some of that is just they were missing shots.
Yeah, sure.
Three-pointers outside of him last night. He hit 2. So I think that was some of it. But my main thing with him was get started earlier, especially when you see the game slipping away.
Okay, let's talk about this. Listen, there's a few things here. And I talked about this the other day about, Ant needing to stay focused, not getting too excited with that game 1 win. We talked about kind of the interview that he gave, and he was like, don't pick us now. You pick the Lakers. And it was like, it's just one game. It's just one game. The Lakers are going to bounce back and play significantly better. But I had such deja vu watching this game, because this game felt exactly like how it happened with the Denver Nuggets, when the physicality, the aggressiveness of the Timberwolves just was an onslaught to the Nuggets. And you had Jamal Murray crying like a baby and throwing stuff on the court, throwing stuff at the ref. How he didn't get suspended will still forever, blow my mind. And then that follow-up game, that following game, they were blowing the whistle like every 5 seconds, getting players in foul trouble, very quickly. And it just disrupted the Timberwolves. And this is how it felt in game 2, is that, when the whistles were being blown at the moments, it was just so much more destabilizing for the Timberwolves. And now you're down. Now you have a bunch of key players that are really getting some tough foul calls. And that's where someone like Ant has to rise above it. He is still not mastered the art of creating his own momentum. He can have some of these big plays where he did have that one dunk that was just, unbelievable, and it's exciting and it's energizing and it's charged and it charges everyone else up, but he's just not good enough at really extending and building off of this momentum. He needs to be able to create his own momentum and sustain it, which in a way is kind of what Bruce's saying of like, it's too, you're getting started too late. And it's problematic in games like this. It's problematic in the playoffs. Because you can see sometimes like, right, he can't do what he wants to do. It just feels kind of, trying to think of a good way to put it, but it's kind of almost like he's in a little bit of quicksand. And you could see that when shots aren't falling, things kind of start to crumble. And that's kind of it was kind of the perfect storm where it was like it was slow for Ant to kind of get some momentum. The role players are not hitting their shots, and the Minnesota Timberwolves feel that they keep getting on the wrong side of the whistle at unforgiving moments within the game. And that was, again, nearly identical to what happened with the Denver Nuggets last season. And Ant needs to be able to just be like, none of this stuff matters right now. My eye is on the prize. This is clearly a game that I'm going to need to go for like 35-40. I'm just getting after it. And that's not the case. There's still too much of kind of, complaining with some of the refs, kind of looking for contact. Like when you know that there is a game where the whistle is being kind of inconsistent, it's disrupting the Minnesota Timberwolves, as the alpha, as the number one player on your team, and should be on the court, you're just like, I just got to do me. I just got to get the ball into the basket. I see that my boys are not knocking down their shots. It's up to me. I got to get after it. And now you don't force the game. You still play within the game, right? I'm not saying that now you just take, 45 shots here. You don't turn into Russell Westbrook. Like, I'm not saying that either. But you still go off. You bring even more attention on you, which then leaves everyone else a little bit more free, a little bit more open. It helps them get into rhythm. It helps take off the pressure off of them when they see, Ant going off. It just has a calming, effort for everyone. And that is also where you now got to be the leader. And in the next huddle and the next timeout, you go to your guys and say, hey, I know we're getting some bad calls here. Who cares? Let's go. We're not looking for the whistle. We don't know when the whistle's coming right now. Let's get after it. I mean, because it was kind of a perfect example. At this point, I should have written it down. But I think it was Ant, actually, ironically. But there was no, it was, let me see. Yeah, it was McDaniels who then went and got, 5 fouls. There was a moment in this game where LeBron James pushes Ant, and Ant kind of goes flying in the back going for a rebound. And for those of you who haven't really played basketball a lot, like the tiniest little push in the back really, like once you're in the air, like can really, it's actually a pretty dangerous play, especially if you're going up, to shoot. Like it's actually like, pretty bad. And players get really upset because it's, it could be career ending. But that wasn't that extreme, what LeBron did. But it is just that little nudge, and he goes flying, and now Ant's now furious because he's like, what, that guy got pushed in the back, and you didn't blow the whistle, and now LeBron gets an easy bucket, and then like a couple drives later, a couple plays later, McDaniels is in just like a going for a rebound, right? When it was just kind of like the ball's in the air, everyone's kind of going for it, nothing too extreme, playoff basketball, fighting for it, blow the whistle on McDaniels. Like those types of sequences can drive a team crazy, especially a young team. It drives fans crazy. Like I see it, and it drives me crazy. And that's why not all fouls are equal. You can't just be like, oh, well, they had 22 fouls and the other team had 23 fouls, so it was kind of equal. Like, no. It's not the way it works. You got to really watch the game. You also got to see what type of calls were being called the game before, right? And when you have those types of sequences, those types of possessions, it can start to drive you crazy. And you could see it starting to drive the Minnesota Timberwolves crazy. And that's when the Ant, the Randalls, the Goberts even have to just be like, this is the game, because you can see it as clear as day. You could tell within the first quarter, oh, this is the way this game is going to be. Like you knew within an instant that this game was going to, the refs were going to disrupt the flow of the Timberwolves. You saw it instantly. Instantly. You had, DiVincenzo in foul trouble, Reed in foul trouble, McDaniels in foul trouble, Randall in foul trouble. Like when you see all that happening, you're like, okay, this is the way this game is going to be. And that is, again, where Ant and even Connolly, and I know he's getting older, so he can't do what he once was able to do. But, like, you need to be able to just be like, none of this stuff matters right now. I have to just get after it. And, you let the chips fall. But it is frustrating when you see that, because when you kind of start putting these players in foul trouble, they can't be as physical as they can. And now you're talking about a team that just can't make a three. They were 5 for 25. 20%, that's obviously not their norm. That alone is going to absolutely crush you. And that's the situation you find yourself in. The good news is that you're going to be at home now, and getting game 3 from my viewpoint really, really matters. Because I think, again, if you're now down a game, you're at home, you lose the first game at home, I think it really puts you on your back foot. You're really going to start to energize this Lakers team. This home game for Minnesota needs to be a game where they go off, where they find their shooting, where they find their three. They can't shoot 20%, right? Like, they got to go off. The role players always play better at home, and they need to have that game. They need to have that game. I really think that their best chance of winning it all right now, and this is hardly groundbreaking here, but winning both games at home. Absolutely winning both games at home. I think if you're back to being split, and then you go back to LA, if it goes back to LA and it's 2-2, things will just start to get tighter. And I just put it this way. I'm trying to think of how I want to say this, because I don't really want to say it, but the league wants Los Angeles Lakers. They want the Lakers. And especially if the Warriors win, they want the Lakers versus the Warriors. They want Steph. They want Jimmy. They want Draymond. They want Luka. They want LeBron. They want California. They don't want Minnesota. All right? They don't want, it doesn't Julius Randle versus Jimmy Butler and Steph Curry. Doesn't really move the needle that much. And so you're talking about a 2-2 series. I don't know, man. When things start to get a little bit more condensed, it's just, and I'm not saying that the refs or the NBA are trying to do anything. I'm not saying anything is fixed. I'm not even remotely saying that. It's just, things just start to feel different. And people like Andre Iguodala have talked about that. And this is something, Iguodala has talked about that a bunch, and that's coming from someone who played for the Warriors, who won. He played for the Sixers, he played for the Warriors. This isn't some jaded guy who never won, and he's a Finals MVP. And it's just, things can get weird in these close series games, especially when you're going up against a LeBron James and the Lakers, and now Luka. When you go on their social media, on ESPN social media and all of that, you just saw, my feed was just covered in Lakers posts. Covered. Just LeBron, Luka, also. I mean, it was just endless. And yeah, man. Make no mistake about it. I mean, I feel it just on YouTube. I make a Minnesota Timberwolves video and some people watch it, not a lot. I make a Lakers video, a Warriors video, vertical. It just skyrockets. If that's what I experience on YouTube, just me, some random dude on YouTube, better believe that's how the league, the networks feel, right? Like the amount of views and money and energy that they get having, listen, even for me, it's better. It's actually better for me to have the Lakers go up against, to have the Lakers continue to play, to have the Warriors continue to play. My views and my videos would crash if it's, the Rockets versus the Timberwolves. A championship, with the Timberwolves versus the Cavaliers. I'm making videos about that and 10 people are watching it. So I think winning both games at home, taking the series up 3-1, really gives them now significantly more wiggle room. If you split this or even go down, it's a tough spot to be in if you are a Minnesota Timberwolf. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Minnesota Timberwolves? Do they need more from Ant? What do they need in general to take control back of this series? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're all on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.